Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general mid-month reading for the sign of Libra, Sun, Moon and Ascendant for the month of October. I hope you will. So this is going to be shorter than the main monthly readings, obviously, because it's only covering a 2-week period from the 15th to the 31st of October. And I'm going to try not to pull any clarifiers to keep it nice and short. So I am switching it up a little bit this month. Normally I pull 3 cards for your current energy and 3 cards for what's coming towards you, and then 3 cards of advice. And I want to try something a bit different this month, so I'm still going to do the current energy, but in the middle, what I'd rather do than what's coming towards you is look for the lessons, right? Look for the point of introspection. I feel like that works far better for me and my style of reading, and it is in fact how I read for myself anyway, because I do think everything is a lesson. So rather than being concerned with what is outside of you, and let us not forget that we're in Mercury retrograde in Scorpio right now, looking for how what is going on around you is affecting what's going on inside of you seems like a more logical way to read the cards. And then we'll stick with advice again at the end, and that will be how to reconcile, you know, what you discover about yourself at this point of introspection and best utilize it to move forwards, right? I hope that makes sense. I'm sure it will once I start pulling cards. I'm going with the Commonplace Tarot today. That's the one that jumped out at me. So could I have 3 cards for Libra's current energy, please? That's the first one. We've got the Tower, Scorpio or Aries in the major arcana, Libra. Oh, a whole heap of cards that came out there. I'm not going to take those because that's too many. Just want 2 more for your current energy. I've got the 7 of Wands. And we've got the 9 of Pentacles. Now this is interesting. At the bottom of the deck we've got the 9 of Swords. It's a card that talks about, you know, worrying about things, having insomnia. It's kind of like the 3 a.m. card. If you were awake at 3 a.m, what would be on your mind, right, at the moment? And it seems like there's some stuff going on here. Now, like I said, we've got the Tower, 7 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles. The interesting thing is about this, that when it came out, I immediately felt like it was a fear of a tower situation rather than the tower itself, right? There's this this pylon is kind of, it's on fire and it's about to get hit by lightning again. But it feels like the perception of what could be an issue is what is preoccupying you at the moment, rather than necessarily the reality of the situation. The 7 of Wands is a card of guarding your energy, right? It's very defensive energy. But again, she's not actually at this point fighting anything off. She's just kind of ready for it, right? So it feels like you're kind of working on being ready for something that you are worrying about, rather than actually dealing with the consequences of that thing having hit in the first place. And then we've got the 9 of Pentacles, which is the card of self-sufficiency. It's a card of independence. You know, it's a card of being able to take care of your own material existence in some way. Now, that could be with money, but let's not forget that Pentacles are resources, right? Pure and simple. So that can be your time and your care and your effort, right? Intangible resources. And it looks like what it is that you're worrying about is the potential of whatever this tower represents to you coming in and affecting your ability to be able to look after yourself. This could well be a financial concern that you have at the moment. You know, maybe what's going on out in the world there is now starting to affect you, or has the potential to affect you and your income and your ability to pay your bills and all that kind of thing. And you're worrying about it. I mean, it's starting to get guarded, defensive about it. Maybe you're putting it, you know, maybe you're stockpiling food, maybe you're putting away money, something like that, right? It doesn't have to be about money at all, but it's certainly you're worrying about something that has the potential to affect the way that you can look after yourself, the way that you can be independent, something like that, right? So let's have a look at this middle line then, this point of introspection. What is the lesson in the energy that you are experiencing at the moment? That's the one leg. We've got the Six of Cups, all right? Let's have a look. What else for Libra? What does Libra need to be looking at internally? One drifted out. We've got the King of Pentacles. And we've got the Wheel of Fortune, Five of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck now. This is my card of your needs not getting met. Now, it's possible that it's the potential for your needs not getting met in some way, right? Got the Empress in reverse. Empress the right way up talks about fertility and abundance, right? So whichever way that this relates to you specifically, there's definitely a concentration on the material things this month. Now, the point of introspection for you, right, what it is that you should be looking to try and learn from this, right? Three very interesting cards. We've got the Six of Cups, we've got the King of Pentacles, and we've got the Wheel of Fortune. Now, it seems to me like you feel that you are in some ways at the mercy of the fates right now, right? What you want to do is show up. Right? You want to be responsible, you want to take care of you and yours, right? That's what the King of Pentacles does. And, you know, he creates a very verdant, rich world for, you know, his to exist in. The Six of Cups can often represent children. And if you have children, then it's obvious that this is, you know, this is a priority for you at this time, right? But, and I'm going to throw this in here because I am starting to work on the shadow readings now, and I see a big shadow thing here coming up. And like I said, we're in Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, so there's some things going on here. In addition to being the card of children, as the Six of Cups is, it's for me a card of the past, and it can be a card of your childhood in some way, right? And it's interesting, I just did a reading for Aries, and what I ended up rambling out about in there was difficulties from their childhood, which were kind of, in some ways, they were starting to manifest an awareness of how they were kind of dealing with their own children, right? In an effort to kind of fix what was before. Now, for you, right, perhaps you grew up really, really poor, right? That's entirely possible. Perhaps you grew up where, you know, there was lots of love in abundance, but there was very little cash, right? There's a definite sense of you being absolutely fixated on your material security at the moment, but I don't think it's necessarily just because things are difficult at the moment. It feels like it's hitting a bit of a trigger in you, Libra, somewhere. You are panicked about your ability to be able to provide for your children, but perhaps because this is kind of harking back to your own childhood where your parents were not able to provide for you in some way, and maybe your entire, you know, parental career has been based around making sure that your children did not feel how you felt when you were a kid. This does seem to be what it's talking about here. It feels a little bit like you feel that things are out of control, that you've lost control. Now that's an interesting point in and of itself as well, because where we feel we need to control things is where we are not accepting them, right? This is very definitely shadow territory. So this is what you need to look at this month, right? Where are you panicking unnecessarily? Where are you fixating unnecessarily? Right? Where are you trying to control things rather than going with the flow? There are plenty of ways in which you can, you know, prepare and you know, get yourself ready for all sorts of eventualities without it keeping you up at night, right? Without you being in that Nine of Swords energy. And looking back at your own childhood might be the place to start, I think. King of Pentacles is a Taurus. Might have been that one of your parents was a Taurus. Maybe you were provided for beautifully in your childhood. And that's what's causing you an issue now, because you cannot quite do the same for your own children. Like I said, you need to use it as a starting point and take it as it resonates to you. Take the bits that fit and then go searching, because that seems to be what this reading is about. So let's get some advice. How do we navigate this energy for Libra? We have the Five of Swords in reverse, which is cool. I'm not going to take all of those, that was too many. We've got Three of Pentacles. And we've got the Hanged Man. That's really interesting, because then we also have the Nine of Wands at the bottom of the deck, followed by the Devil. Oh, fascinating. And the Four of Cups. Yet there is a fear that you are hanging on to here. No? And it's not the first card that suggests that you need to change your thinking about the way that you're approaching this, right? No, not least because worrying about things is exhausting, right? Prepare for things, plan for things, absolutely. But when you are up at 3 a.m. and you are worrying about things, all you are doing is depleting your energy, right? You need to take better care of yourself, Libra. The Five of Swords as advice is actually really cool, particularly when it comes out in the reverse. Now, when it's in the upright, it is inherently unstable. It talks about uncomfortable shifts, uncomfortable changes. And with it being swords, we're talking about communication, right? Now, that can often be the way that you talk to other people and they talk to you, or it can be how you express yourself internally, your thinking patterns. Libra, your thinking patterns are slightly off because it feels like whatever situation you are in now is triggering some sort of memory or wound or fear from your own childhood. You're kind of carrying it forwards into the here and now. Turning it upside down, stabilizing it, is noticing that pattern, identifying that pattern. As soon as you identify anything in your shadow, it starts to lose its power to control you, right, subconsciously, because you've integrated it and you've gone, hello, right, let's have a look at you. What are you all about then? And as the adult in the situation, you can reassure the internal version of you and say, it's okay, I got this. Look, I've planned here, I've done this, I've done that. We've done as much as we can. Now we wait and see. Because there does feel like an element of catastrophizing here, Libra, right? And when the sun is in Libra at the moment and everything's supposed to be harmonious, like that's what your sign's about. It's all about equilibrium and balance. But the amount of well, the shit show that is going on up there at the moment with Jupiter and Saturn and Mars at the moment is really heavily affecting your ability to bring that to the table, right? And I feel like that's probably making things worse as well. It's really, really agitating you. But the Mercury retrograde energy is here and it can be your friend. You have to go digging deep for whatever it is though. And honestly, I feel like this is the thing for you. Three of Pentacles, interestingly, also came up in the advice section for Aries. Reach out for help if you need it, right? Like, I think you've got quite a decent community around you and you've got people who would support you if you let them know that you needed help. And I think that at the moment you're struggling with this internally and you haven't actually reached out for help. But it could also talk about working with yourself, right? Not against yourself. When we've got faulty thought patterns, when we've got things that are, you know, sending us into a bit of a spiral, we are working against ourselves, right? We're depleting our own energy. We're not meeting our own needs. Give it a bit of thought, right? The final card is the Hanged Man. Now this is interesting because obviously, like many other cards, it has a number of different interpretations. One of them can speak about the need to change your perspective about something, and I think that that is utterly valid here, right? This character in the Hanged Man has flipped themselves upside down so that they can see the world from a different perspective and gain wisdom, right? It can also talk about voluntary submission to something, right? It's not a comfortable position to be in, to be hanging upside down for a protracted period of time. And a lot of people would fight against that. But the Hanged Man is always depicted as looking pretty serene, right? because he knows it needs to be done. The interesting thing about this card, and this is particular to the Commonplace Tarot, which is why it's really interesting that it was this one that came out. Rather than being able to see the expression on the face of this character here, we are shown the back of this character. So rather than there being a tree in the background and us being able to see the contented face of the Hanged Man, what we can see is the back of this person. And they're staring at the moon. Now, if you've seen any of my videos before, you know what I think about the moon, right? As a symbol, it talks about the subconscious. It talks about the bits of us that we are not really aware of, right? The hidden things, if you will. This is talking about you taking a look within and seeing how much of what you are actually worrying about outside of you, right? What's going on in whatever your circumstances are, is actually touching a wound that goes back a lot further, right? Things that need to come out for you to look at, because I genuinely feel once you identify that, it's going to lower your agitation, Libra, by some measure. Ooh. I've got a couple of cards that have come out here on the compass cards. The one right at the bottom, what do you wish someone would ask you? Do you wish that somebody would ask you if you needed help? Because if you do, why haven't you reached out to someone yourself, you know? If it's something else, if it's something deeper than that, then maybe you need to ask that question to yourself. Don't wait for somebody else to ask it. The other card that came out, B. What's important about this? The situation outside of you, the situation inside of you, right? How you work through it all. And then how do you want it to be? We're all at the mercy of the fates, we're all at the mercy of the turning of the wheel, but we can work with that energy, and both of these major arcana cards that have come out for you talk about working with that energy. They both talk in some ways about submitting to what is going on, right? The Wheel of Fortune for me is also a card of a teaching moment. And this is why I've just been harping on about the shadow for so long, because I do feel like your teaching moment is some sort of realization that you need to have internally, which will then affect your external situation. You know, how do you want it to be? What do you want to manifest? And what are you doing to enable that to happen? If you are just worrying about things, that's not manifesting energy, right? Well, sometimes, in worst case scenario, it actually can be, right? What you resist persists and all that. Take it down a notch and go within and see what comes up, because I think that you might be surprised. So I'm going to leave it there, Libra. I hope that you found something helpful here for you. If you have, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, or, you know, like the video or whatever. But it looks like this is going to be quite a heavy month for you, but with the potential for you to feel much better at the end of it. So know that I love you very much, and I'll see you soon.